Have you ever experienced a moment in your life where all you wanted was one more second? Anything at all. One more second, one more minute, one more hour, one more time, one more hug. Have you ever reviewed the history of your life and come to a crossroads about the future? You're able to see the horizon, but not know quite how to reach the other side. Hold on to these questions because we'll come back to it a bit later. But first, I want to share a story. Earlier this week, I officiated the funeral of a woman who, by today's standard, would be considered young, 65 years old. Her family was devastated to learn of her sudden passing. But one particular moment at the funeral really penetrated me. You see, at her funeral, her grandson, who was just 2 years old, ran up to the casket. And as I offered the eulogy, he began to circle the casket, brushing his fingers against the wood, going around and around. And then he sat beside it. And he reached up and with his tiny little arms tried to hug the wood. Of course, the boy's mother, the father, the aunts, the uncles, the friends, they all tried to usher the boy away. They offered him snacks, a phone. This kid was not budging. Finally, I caught myself saying out loud, "It's okay, leave him there. He doesn't want to let go. He just wants one more minute." Admittedly, it's not a situation that I've ever encountered, but the message was so powerful. This little boy was saying, "I just want one more minute. I just want one more moment. I just need one more hug." In this week's Torah portion, Parshat Va'etchanan, Moses is reaching the end of his life. And he reminds the Israelites that he pleaded with God for compassion and a final chance to enter the promised land. After all, Moses has been with the Israelites every step of the way, overseeing the exodus from Egypt, dealing with the infighting and the rebellions, all of the kvetching. But his love for his people remains steadfast, and now they are quite literally on the banks of the Jordan River, overlooking the land that they have fought so hard to reach, and Moses is told instead that he will die without crossing into the land. At this point, Moses has already accepted his fate. But what he cannot accept, what he grapples with and fights with, is the separation from his people. Moses is that 2-year-old boy who longs for just one more second, just one more minute, just one more hug, just one more moment. And now we come to this pivotal moment in our history, in 2025. How can our hearts not be drawn to the images of hostages being held by Hamas? Families in Israel face the gut-wrenching reality that they may never be reunited, that they may never have another second. I have to imagine that they think back to October 6th, 2023, and they ask themselves this question: what if? What if I had one more minute to say goodbye? And of course, seeing the images of parents bury their children, those 2 little boys, Ariel and Kafir, we need to keep saying their names. A father desperately holding on to those memories, standing over their graves, longing for just one more second. Just one more minute. One more hug. One more "I love you." Remember just a few minutes ago, I asked you if you ever had a time in your life where all you desired was one more second. With your permission, I'd like to invite us to do something a bit non-traditional. I want to invite all of us to close our eyes and recall the precise moment where we knew we couldn't have what we desired most. where we couldn't have just one more second, just one more minute, just one more embrace. So imagine that person now in front of you. Their smile, their eyes, the shape of their face, their hair, their scent. Try to connect with that person and feel their embrace. If you could speak to them, what would you say? Would you ask for just one more second in time? Would you ask for one more minute or one more hour? Like Moses, we are forced to accept the reality that time is fleeting and the moments must pass. And as much as we long for the reuniting of our souls to those people who we miss so much, we know our place is here on earth. Perhaps you remember the song written by Eric Clapton called Tears in Heaven. He wrote it after his 4-year-old son Connor's accidental death. The words, "Would you know my name if I saw you in heaven? Would it be the same if I saw you in heaven? I must be strong and carry on, 'cause I know I don't belong here in heaven." This is what I think of when reading Parshat Ve'etchanan. It's Moses asking, will you remember me? Will you know my name? It is my time to go. But you, my people, the Israelites, this community that I've cared for so long, you must be strong and carry on, because my place is in heaven and your place is here, with Joshua as the next leader to cross you into the promised land. Moses quite literally begs, he pleads with God, not out of an overwhelming desire to stay as the leader of the Jewish people, not even to live. He pleads for one more minute with his people, for a final goodbye. Because for Moses, it was that human connection that he craved most. It's as if he was saying, don't go. Not yet. Please, just give me one more second. This burden that we all carry at some point in our lifetime. People who leave this earth when we don't expect it. People who come into our lives and disappear without warning. People who love us and break our hearts. People who we know are in the end stages of their life, who we wish would just hold on. It's true for us as individuals, but most especially true as a community these past 2 years, where we are constantly drawn back to October 7th. For the Bibas family and so many others, we know that they don't, as the song says, belong in heaven. They belong here on earth in the tender embrace of their parents, in the warm and loving homes, their promised land. On this Shabbat, may we be blessed with the opportunity to hold on to time, to capture meaningful moments in our lives, to crave one more second, one more minute with the people we love. To discover in the sanctification of time a sacred and irreplaceable longing for those whose names we know and whose faces remained etched in our memories, and whose tears we feel, and whose hand we hold, bridging the connection between heaven and earth.